Okay, for 71, they want us to solve these inequalities. So A, I have 5x plus 8, absolute value, greater than or equal to -4. So for A, if I look at this, I'm taking the absolute value of something, doesn't matter what it is. That's going to be a positive number. So it's saying, when will that be greater than or equal to -4? All the time, right? I can stop right there. It's all real numbers, right? I can stop right there. For B, it's an inequality, right? X squared plus x minus 20 is less than 0. So again, I can do this by getting the boundaries and testing the 3 regions, or I can just use completing the square, right? So x squared plus x is less than 20, right? I add 20 to both sides. Now I take half the middle term, right? Half the middle term, which is 1/2, and square it and add it to both sides, plus 1/4, right? And add that to both sides, plus 1/4. This factors to x plus 1/2 squared is less than 20 and 1/4. So 20 is 80/4, right? 80/4. So that's 81/4, right? So now we split it into 2, right? The first one is x plus 1/2 is less than the square root, 9/2, right? The square root right over here, the square root of 81/4, right, is 9/2. And it's less than, and, less than is and, remember land, less than is and, right? X plus 1/2 is greater than -9/2, right? Okay. So I subtract 1/2 over here, so I get x is less than 9/2 minus 1/2 is 8/2, that's 4. And subtract 1/2 here, x is greater than -10/2, which is -5, right? So I could write it like that. I'm okay with you writing it in that form. If you want to write it in concatenated form, it would be -5 is less than x, which is less than 4. -5 is less than x, which is less than 4. Okay, for C, let me make space. C, we have 2x squared minus 6x equals -5. Okay, for this one, we can try to factor, right? So I could bring it over 2x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0, right? And then let's see, I multiply the first and last and get 10, and none of the factors are going to give me that -6. So we're forced to use the quadratic formula, or completing the square, but let's use quadratic formula, right? Okay, so A is 2, B is -6, C is 5. X equals -b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals -6 plus or minus -6 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5 all over 2 times 2. I'm going to come up here, right? Okay, so x equals -6 is 6 plus or minus 36, right? 36 minus 40 all over 4. So x equals 6 plus or minus square root of -4 over 4, and we stop and write no solution, which means no real number solution, but we don't have to say that, and we say no solution because, look, right here, I have the square root of a negative number, which is not a real number, so there's no solution for this one. And let's do the last one, D. D, we have fractions, right? 5/9 minus x over 3 equals 4/9. I'm going to subtract 5/9 from both sides. So -x over 3 equals 4/9 minus 5/9 is -1/9, right? So now I'm going to cross multiply. So I get -x, right, times 9 equals, right, we're cross multiplying here, right? We're cross multiplying, right? Okay. equals 3 times negative 1, right? So negative 9x equals negative 3. Divide by negative 9. X equals negative 3 over negative 9. So x equals 1/3. Right? And we're done.